Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Chris.
I'm Jasmine. This is Barry. Welcome back to another video. So today is part one of our Thanksgiving videos. We're doing two separate videos for Thanksgiving recipes. The first is a desserts video, which is, to me, the most important part. I don't know about to you, but
I'll disagree, but I'm still here for it.
And then on Friday, we'll be putting out some side recipes as well as one main dish recipe for you to try out. Those are all savory. So today we're sticking to sweet. We have 3 recipes going on in this video. One of them is an older recipe. We just don't have a video for it. So I thought it deserved a video, especially this time of year. What are we making? I've been doing all the talking.
So first we have a classic vegan pumpkin pie. It is so good.
We've been eating it all week.
I almost ate the whole thing while Jasmine was gone earlier.
He saved me a slice.
I did. And then what else we got?
We have some mini pecan tarts, and this is actually something my mom used to make every Thanksgiving before I went vegan. And I veganized it. It was really easy. I just took the original recipe, used vegan substitutions, made a few changes, and they turned out amazing. All of our friends love them. They actually inhaled them the other day when we brought it over to their house. So I really think you guys are going to enjoy it. They're very nostalgic, at least to me. But I think you guys will be too.
And then finally we're making some pumpkin cinnamon rolls, which are fat and fluffy and they're bomb.
They're definitely delicious.
They're thick.
We've been working on these for a while. We tried to do them gluten-free. You guys, I did 6 different recipe tests and I just couldn't do it. It was so hard. I'm not fluent in gluten-free cooking. I don't know if that's the proper term, but I need to practice more. I need to learn more. And for now, we're putting out a gluten version for you to try out. Gluten-free. Hopefully, I'll get it down by next fall. But in the meantime, you guys can enjoy this one. So I think that's all we got to say.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video.
Let's get into it. The first recipe we're putting together today is a classic vegan pumpkin pie. In my opinion, a staple to the perfect Thanksgiving dinner. In a medium saucepan over medium heat, I'm adding in some almond milk as well as cornstarch, and I'm going to just whisk these together until they're nice and smooth and all of the cornstarch chunks are broken down. Next, I'm adding in some brown sugar as well as granulated sugar, and I'm going to whisk this together and bring it to a simmer over medium-low heat, whisking continuously to thicken the mixture, which will take about 4 minutes. Remove the pan from heat, and then we're going to add in some coconut oil along with salt and pumpkin pie spice. If you don't have pumpkin pie spice, I have notes in the blog post as to what you can use instead. Vanilla extract, pumpkin puree, of course. If you can't find pumpkin puree, you can always make your own at home, but the canned is recommended. It's so much easier. Whisk everything together until it is nice and smooth, and then transfer it into your prepared pie crust. We use a store-bought option here, but you can also make your own. I have some links in our blog post that will direct you to some homemade options. And the last step is just to smooth out the pumpkin pie filling with a spatula as best you can, just to evenly distribute it. Pop this into the oven to bake for an hour, and you're left with a beautiful pumpkin pie. I suggest letting this cool to room temperature, or even better, letting it sit in the fridge overnight. Top it with vegan whipped cream and enjoy.
Next up, we're going to be making some delicious mini vegan pecan tarts. First up, we're going to make our flax egg. So we'll take some water along with some flax meal, and we'll add them into a bowl together. We'll mix them up and then set that aside for about 10 minutes until it becomes nice and gelatinous. Next, we'll take another bowl. We'll add in some vegan cream cheese along with some vegan butter, and then we'll mix that together until smooth and fluffy. We're using a hand mixer here, but if you don't have one, you can just mix it by hand. Once that's finished, we'll add in some all-purpose flour, and then using a fork, we'll mix that together until a soft dough forms. Once it looks like this, we'll just pop it into the fridge to chill. Now we're going to be making our tart filling, so we'll bring back our flax egg that we made earlier and add in some brown sugar, as well as some salt, vanilla extract, pecans, and then some melted vegan butter. And we'll just mix that together until everything is nice and combined. Pop that into the fridge. We'll also remove the dough that we made earlier from the fridge, and then we'll divide the dough into 12 even balls and place them in a mini cupcake pan. Using a tart tamper, we'll evenly press down the dough into that cupcake pan until the dough is nice and spread out. If you don't have a tart tamper, you can also use your hands. We'll then take the mixture we made earlier and use it as a filling for the tarts. We want to make sure to spread it out as evenly as possible without overflowing.
From there, all you have to do is pop them into the oven to bake, and you'll know they're done when they're nice and golden brown. And yeah, that's it. Enjoy. And last but not least, we're making some vegan pumpkin cinnamon rolls. So to start, I'm grabbing a large bowl, and to that I'm adding in some warmed almond milk. You can also use soy milk or oat milk as well, whatever you prefer. I'm also adding in some granulated sugar, and I'm going to mix that together until it is nice and uniform. And then I'm going to add in some active dry yeast and mix that through and allow this to activate by setting it aside for 10 minutes. Once the yeast has activated and bubbled up, we're going to add in some pumpkin puree along with some pure vanilla extract and mix that together until it is nice and smooth. And I almost forgot to mix in the melted vegan butter, but you're gonna mix that in as well and make sure that it is uniform before we add in the dry ingredients. So we have some salt, pumpkin pie spice, baking powder, and we're going to mix that together again until it is nice and uniform. And lastly, we're adding in some all-purpose flour. I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but we're going to mix that through until it is nice and uniform and a smooth dough forms. Flour a clean work surface and then transfer your dough onto that surface and knead it for about 10 minutes. If you have a standing mixer, you could totally do this whole recipe in there and it'll be so much easier, but we're doing it by hand today just in case you don't have one. I usually just set a 10-minute timer here, but you'll know when the dough is done, when it is nice and soft, nice and supple. It'll feel different than it did when you first started. And all we're gonna do now is transfer it to an oiled bowl, flip it around in there to get it nice and moist, and we're going to allow it to rise for an hour in a warm place. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare the filling. So I'm mixing together some brown sugar, granulated sugar, pumpkin pie spice, and some softened vegan butter. You can also add a pinch of salt as well. All you have to do is just mix this together until it is nice and uniform and it looks something like this. Set that aside, and now we're going to check on our dough. So the dough has doubled in size. It looks beautiful. We're going to flour a clean work surface again and pile the dough onto there. And using a rolling pin or even a cup or a jar, we're going to roll out the dough to at least 12 inches in length. This will end up being about ½ an inch thick, and using a dough scraper, I am flattening the edges and just making it more rectangular. This is optional, but it just helps make the cinnamon rolls more uniform. Next, I'm transferring the filling into the dough, and what I like to do is just plop mounds all over the dough and then use a butter knife or a spatula to evenly spread it all around, making sure to leave a ½ inch border. And since this is a fall/Thanksgiving recipe, we decided to add in some chopped pecans. You can also use walnuts, almonds, whatever nut you want really. And just evenly distribute that throughout the rolls, and then just tightly roll the long edge in until you form a log. And once you have a log, we're going to divide this into 6 even pieces. So what I like to do is take some measuring tape and measure out 2-inch pieces just to make sure everything is uniform. I highly recommend this. And then to cut the rolls, there are 2 different options. You can either use some unflavored, unscented dental floss or cooking twine to cut the rolls, which is recommended. It doesn't press down on them as much and it keeps them nice and round. If you can't do this, just use a really sharp knife and carefully cut through the rolls. Place the rolls into a greased baking dish, and we're going to cover this with a clean towel and set it aside to rise in a warm area for about an hour. And as you can see, they basically double in size and they're gonna get even bigger. So we're gonna pop those into the oven, and in the meantime, I'm preparing the cream cheese icing. So to a bowl, I'm adding in some powdered sugar along with vegan cream cheese. And to that, I'm also adding in some melted vegan butter, vanilla extract, and you can also add lemon juice as well. And what I'm doing is adding a tiny bit of almond milk at a time and whisking it until it reaches my desired consistency. I know some people like really thick icings and some people like thin icings, which we prefer. So just mix it until it reaches the consistency of your liking. Once the rolls were finished baking, I allowed them to cool for a few minutes and then I drizzled over the icing. I recommend you enjoy these the first day you make them, nice and warm. They are best when they are fresh. Yeah, all I have to say is enjoy.
Look at him.
I know. Very.
You guys have to see this.
It's so sweet. They could see him, look.
But not his feet. That's the best part.
Let's take a photo. I don't want to distract you.
It's done.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching.
We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below. Let us know which ones you're going to be making over the holiday season. So,
yeah.
These are good for Thanksgiving, but it translates through the holiday season.
You can make these any time of year, honestly, too. I will enjoy pumpkin pie in the summer if I'm
pumpkin pie in July.
And if you guys have any other recipes that you want us to make, I know it's a little late this year, but for next year, if you have any ideas, leave them down below. We also have a ton of vegan Thanksgiving recipes on our website if you're looking for more, which will be linked down below as well. I think that's all we got to say for this video.
Stay tuned for our sides video, and
coming out.
More than just sides. Sides
Savory.
and beyond.
This is
Our savory
video.
videos come on Friday.
Yeah, so
Check back for that, and we'll see you then.
Bye.